Thanks very much. Hi, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Wedin. I'm the founder and formerly CEO, now the executive chair of Vulcan Energy Resources, the world's first zero-carbon lithium company. I'd like to start off with this image. I think it really encapsulates what we're doing quite nicely. This is the upstream part of our project. What you're looking at here is the Upper Rhine Valley in southwest Germany bordering France. And this is our mine, just here. This is a geothermal renewable energy plant. It is currently producing, it's a commercial plant, albeit a small one, and it's currently producing the holy grail of renewable energy, baseload renewable power. It's producing that from deep wells, which have been drilled between 3 and 4 kilometers deep beneath the surface, and they're tapping into this deep underground brine reservoir. So the wells are pumping up this hot brine to the surface. It's coming up hot, 165 degrees centigrade, and it's a brine, so it's salty. We produce baseload energy from this brine, as mentioned. What we've been doing for the last few years at our pilot plants here is we've been extracting one of those salts from the brine, lithium chloride, and we've been processing that to produce a battery-grade lithium hydroxide product. And we're now ready to execute to build the commercial version of this. Critically, all of the pieces of the puzzle that we use to make that battery-grade product are in some way, shape, or form used commercially today. We're just bolting them together, and we're engineering the fossil fuels out of the lithium production. So we have 0 fossil fuels used in this process, and we actually produce more energy than we consume. So we're net energy positive. So you're looking at our resource, basically. Underneath the Upper Rhine Valley, there's this big geothermal lithium brine resource, and this is where we produce our upstream product from. A nice image to get started with. Disclaimer is available on our website. I won't go through it. Purpose and mission of the company, really, we started from zero-carbon lithium and working backwards from there. How do we decarbonize lithium production? How do we get the fossil fuels and the carbon footprint out of lithium production? Because lithium is actually very carbon intensive today. So a ton of lithium hydroxide produced today takes anywhere between 15 and 30 tons CO2 per ton of lithium hydroxide produced. If you extrapolate that out to the electric vehicles, passenger electric vehicles, converting all of the passenger vehicles in the world to electric over the next few years, which is happening, you will emit somewhere around 2 billion tons of CO2 just for the lithium to do that. That's a massive figure. That's the annual carbon budget of Western Europe. So we want to be a small part of decarbonizing the lithium supply chain. I know there's other companies doing great things out there as well to achieve this goal as well. And really, that's the core mission of the company. And once again, you're looking at our mine, which is these geothermal wells and plants. Our target's to produce renewable heat for around about 1 million people by 2030 as we expand across the Upper Rhine Valley, and enough lithium hydroxide, this is a very rough figure, but for about 1 million electric vehicles per annum. And in doing so, to avoid about 1 million tons of CO2 per annum. So there's a huge avoidance opportunity here. We think we can avoid somewhere between 50 and 60 million tons of carbon dioxide over the life of our projects as we expand. This is a good snapshot of the business here. So at the moment, we're focused on phase 1. This is an integrated renewable energy and lithium chemicals operation, producing lithium hydroxide, our trademarked zero-carbon lithium product, at the back end, renewable heat for local communities and industrial customers. And then we have this funnel of future phases that we'll be building across the Upper Rhine Valley. But in addition to being a project developer and operator as well, we also have technology in our company. So we have the technology arm of the business. VULDr is our in-house lithium extraction adsorbent. It's a very high-performance one. And we will be looking to license this out across the world as well. We also have our own in-house well delivery group as well, Vulcan. A lot of oil and gas expertise in the company. More on that later. Very quick summary on, because I don't have too much time and quite a few slides to get through. Very quick summary on, I guess, the key investment highlights in Vulcan. So we are a unique offering in the supply chain. So the world's first and only zero-carbon lithium company. We have a very large lithium resource, the largest in Europe and globally significant, 27 million tons of contained lithium carbonate equivalent. We have very strong contracts, very strong relationships with lithium off-takers. So we have tier 1 customers, Stellantis, Volkswagen, LG, Umicore, and Renault, really supplying the top-level automakers and battery manufacturers and cathode manufacturers in Europe. We have a low cost of production, so very important in a volatile lithium market. On the one hand, we've got offtake prices baked in with our agreed offtake agreements. On the other hand, we have a low cost of production as well. We've got very strong tailwinds behind us in Europe. So Europe is really pushing, like other jurisdictions we just heard about in North America, to secure some measure of supply chain independence for critical raw materials. And this is really giving us a strong regulatory tailwind. We have this large development pipeline, as mentioned. It doesn't stop at phase one. We can grow as the lithium market in Europe grows. And we have a very strong management team as well, coming from mostly the oil and gas industry and the chemicals industry in Europe. So very strong industrialization expertise there. We are dual listed. So we're listed in Australia and we're dual listed in Europe as well on the prime standard of the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Stellantis, the automaker, is our second largest shareholder. Why do you need lithium in Europe? Well, Europe needs a lot of lithium. It needs it very quickly, and it doesn't have any. So there are a few converters being built, but there's essentially zero raw material supply coming locally in Europe. And if you're looking at what is now considered normal, when I started in lithium, hard rock mining was actually considered suboptimal compared to brines. But if you're looking for a hard rock mine in Europe, it's difficult. It's difficult to permit. I think hopefully some of them will get up and running, but it is socially harder to permit hard rock mines in Europe. Also, Europe wants sustainable lithium. They don't just want a lot of lithium, they want sustainable lithium, and they want this very quickly. So that's where we come in. We can scale up quickly, we can produce sustainable lithium, and we can reduce reliance on external providers of lithium hydroxide. In addition, we are a renewable energy producer right now, and we're building a lot more renewable energy production. And guess what? There's been an energy crisis in Europe since the invasion of Ukraine. Europe is trying to decarbonize, but it's also trying to get energy security as well as critical raw material security. So we have another product that Europe desperately needs: baseload renewable heat and power. And heating is really the elephant in the room in terms of decarbonization. Easier to decarbonize power. This is what we're building. Essentially, it's an integrated oil and gas project without the oil and gas. So you've got the wells and the pipelines in the upstream pumping that hot brine to the surface, as I mentioned. We've got our geothermal plants on the surface. We're building a larger one nearby. So we'll be producing heat and power from this geothermal plant, as we're doing now. Then we have the lithium plant on the same site, which we're building as part of phase one, using the waste heat from this geothermal process to drive that lithium extraction. Then we're producing the salt, which gets transported upstream to our conversion plant in Frankfurt, where we produce the lithium hydroxide. And phase one, capacity 24,000 tonne per annum. Each phase after that, the idea is the same size. We add further phases of production, but starting with phase one. This is where we are. So this is the Upper Rhine Valley. This is the reservoir you can see in sort of golden orange there. We're starting in the core of the field where we have existing wells which are pumping this brine to the surface. We're adding more wells. And we're really starting in the core of the license area because we have that existing infrastructure. But the goal is to step out from there. You can see it's a very large field, and we see multiple phases of production ahead of us. And there you see in the downstream, that's where our chemical plant is. So instead of transporting the lithium chloride for thousands, tens of thousands of kilometers, we're 130 kilometers up the road, the upstream and the downstream, very close to each other. Reduces cost, reduces carbon footprint as well. Very well understood system. Decades of oil and gas and geothermal production, which has given us a lot of data and a big head start in the project development. So we have multiple phases ahead of us beyond phase one, and this is phase one just in the center as well. So if you cast your mind back to that previous page, it really makes up a small fraction of the overall field. So starting with the wells and the pipelines, you can see once again very analogous to that upstream, downstream oil and gas style project. And that's why we have a well delivery group in-house, 100 drillers coming from the oil and gas industry, looking to use their experience to build a renewable energy and decarbonization lithium chemicals project. So that's Vulcan, our in-house well delivery group. And they've been working in this area for many, many years, drilling oil and gas wells as well as geothermal wells as well. We have 2 rigs in-house. This is one of them here, which we've been refurbishing for the last couple of years as well. So we have the project execution ability, and we're going to be drilling really for the next decade, we see, as we build further and further phases. The geothermal plant, we're building a bigger version of this one. It's off-the-shelf technology. In terms of the lithium extraction plant, well, this is a mini version of it. So we built a commercial demonstration plant. This is about a 40 million euro investment. This is what we call LEOP, Lithium Extraction Optimization Plant. This is a training facility. So we'll train our production team here in a pre-commercial environment whilst we're building the commercial plant. We've already done the piloting. That's been done over the last few years. This is the optimization plant. This is the training ground for our production team. So production team is already there. This will start to produce product hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So we're getting very close here to first product from this plant. We had a grand opening ceremony late last year, which was well attended. And this is what the commercial plant looks like. So we'll be building this in an industrial park nearby. We always place ourselves in industrial parks. We're not sort of breaking any new virgin ground. We're not chopping down any trees. This is all within existing chemical parks and industrial parks. So once again, minimizes the carbon footprint. In terms of the lithium extraction, we're using this. We call it VULDr. This is technology that has been used commercially since 1996 to take lithium out of brines using a process called adsorption. It was invented by Dow in the 70s, so it's been around for a long time. It's a lot older than me. We use this commercially proven technology. We've adapted it, we've iterated it, and we think our sorbent is one of the highest, if not the highest, performance sorbents in the world. So we do want to spec this out as well because we think it's a really good product. But this will be used for our phase one, and we're using a toll manufacturer to make it for us in France. Once again, onshoring the supply chain in Europe. So the main advantages of this process relative to some of the other methods that are used around the world, you hardly use any reagents. It's highly selective. It's very, very efficient. You can produce very, very quickly. And the main input is heat. And we have waste heat coming from the geothermal process that we can utilize. And that drives down our cost of production. So this is unique intellectual property, unique IP, and it's in-house to Vulcan. It's a real value that we have. This type of process is used globally today, makes up about 10% of global production, or about a quarter of production coming from brines today. But the rate of adoption is increasing because of the aforementioned reasons. So in places like South America, in China, in North America, increasingly you're seeing adsorption style projects being built. So this is the future. The unique advantage that we have, though, is that we have the heat to drive it. You'll see oil and gas majors also getting into the space, including Exxon in the US and Oxy as well. So this is a really interesting space because oil and gas and mining are somewhat intersecting in the world of lithium. The last step of the process, the central lithium plant, same thing again. We've built a commercial demo version. Got that? 1.5 minutes to go. We built a commercial demo version. It's going to train the production team. And we've already done the groundbreaking ceremony. This is where it is. It's in the Herx chemical park, existing chemical park that's been around for over 100 years. And essentially using chlor-alkali technology, electrolysis cells. They've been doing chlor-alkali here for over 100 years as well. So we have all the expertise, including from BASF, to run this. I'm going to have to go through the remaining part very, very quickly. We have a tremendous decarbonization opportunity. You can see the delta there with current supply. But we're also very, very low cost because we're using that waste heat to drive the process. So in a volatile lithium market, I would argue that we represent a safe harbor for lithium production, given that we are very much lowest cost quartile. We also have these tier one off-takers that we're selling to as well. So binding lithium hydroxide offtake agreements gives us certainty on pricing. That gives us very attractive economics. So 2.6 billion euro post-tax just for phase one. Remember, this is phase one of multiple phases of operation. This is what we're in the midst now in the trenches of financing. So, and you can see it goes from a renewable energy dominant project to a lithium dominant project. Over 700 million euros of revenues over the project's life on average. We're now in financing, and we're really going to be focused on this for the majority of the rest of the year. So we're financing phase one. We've got some good tailwinds there. We just announced backing from the European Investment Bank, and we're looking to finance this at a project level, not at a topco level, obviously to reduce dilution for our shareholders. That is our target. I'll have to stop there. In summary, ready to launch. We are execution ready. We have the execution team in place, the production team in place, nearly 400 employees in the company from well delivery to final production. And subject to financing, we are ready to go with zero carbon lithium. Thank you very much.